Hello, hello. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. So, I want to do a four-part series to help you guys that are struggling to win government contracts. Right? So, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm Dr. Melissa J. Williams. Live your best life doing what you love, and I teach small business owners how to grow and scale their business with government contracts. I also teach them how to work smarter versus harder using automation and technology. So, this video is going to be part one of a four-part series. All right, and so I'm going to walk you through, guys, literally how to win your first contract. And if you already won a contract, how to continue to win contracts. And so, like I said, it's going to be a little long, but I want you guys to stay with me to the end. I'm going to have some handouts and some links that I'll share in the notes below so you guys can actually follow along. And because we'll cover a lot of material, it's okay for you guys to pause it, slow it down, rewind it, watch it over and over again. So hopefully this is going to make sense. All right, so part one, we're going to talk about your foundation. I teach all the time that it's so important to make sure that you have a strong foundation. You guys know that this is true regardless of whatever you're doing. Make sure that your foundation is strong. All right, so foundation first. I want to help you guys. Part two, we're gonna talk about show them that you are ready, right? Your capability statement, your past performance. All right. Part three, I'm going to show you how to find opportunities, right? How to hunt for opportunities, right? And conduct your market research. And number four, fourth part, we're going to actually come up with some winning strategies, right? To help you guys to partner, become subs, all right, and to network, how to pull it all together. So I always say that you have everything that you need in order to be successful, but sometimes you just don't know how to put the pieces together. So this is going to start from the beginning, and hopefully, like I said, you guys will be able to understand it. If not, you can reach out to me. I'm mostly on school, like every day, and you can just reach out to me in school. We have two communities, and they're free communities. We have the Live Your Best Life Collective on school, and then we also have the $1 Trillion Client on school. All right, so reach out to me if you guys get stuck. I'm going to be hosting a VIP day for students that are already winning contracts and they just want to scale. I'm also going to be hosting a live webinar soon, right? So that we can kind of go through it again, step by step, so that you guys will be able to actually win contracts. You have everything you need in order to be successful. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started, guys. So if you have been trying to break into government contracts, right, but you feel stuck or overwhelmed, you are not alone. All right, I'm a SCORE mentor, and I get calls from students and business owners every day. And, they want to grow and scale. They're tired of chasing after one contract at a time, right? But they feel like they're stuck. All right. So most small businesses, they get tripped up right at the start because they don't know how to set things up properly. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with your foundation because it's very, very critical for you to have a strong, solid, well thought out, strategic foundation. All right. So again, this is going to be one of a four-part series where I'm going to walk you through the entire journey of winning your first contract, and from registering your business with SAM, all right, and or state or local, all the way to strategic partnership. So today we're going to be talking about the most important part, and the most important part that most small businesses, they overlook, right? That piece is your foundation. All right, and we're going to cover how to get your SAM.gov registration right and how to choose the right NAICS code for your business and how to lay the groundwork for actually starting to find the right opportunities, real opportunities, right, that you could actually win. So again, this is your girl, Dr. Melissa J. Williams, Live Your Best Life, doing what you love. I want you guys to grab a notepad because I'm gonna try my hardest to keep this simple and clear so that you can follow along. All right, so let's get into it. Ooh, I'm excited. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is SAM.gov. All right, so before you can even think about bidding, guys, you need to be properly registered in SAM.gov, and that's for federal contracts. All right, so I want to break it down for you guys really quickly. All right, forget about DUNS, right? When I started in 1993, I had to get a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. But today that's gone. All right. What you need now is you need your unique entity ID or your UEI. All right. Which you get directly through SAM.gov when you register. So when you're starting your foundation, I always recommend that all of these codes, all of these websites, all of the references that you need, that you save them, right? You save them because oftentimes when you're bidding on contracts, you're going to need your UEI, all right? You may need your cage code and you don't want to be searching for it. So, pro tip number one is just to create an Excel spreadsheet or a notepad or something like that where you keep all of your information in one spot, right? You can create a drive on a Google Drive or Dropbox where all of this information is at your fingertips. So the first thing that we're going to do, and I will be sharing my screen throughout this video, but we're going to go to SAM.gov and we're going to create a login through login.gov and we're going to start the entity registration. All right, so I'm going to see if I can share my screen. We're not going to go through all of this because I actually do go through every bit of this in my VIP day where I meet with business owners that are really, really serious about getting this done. And we actually start at the beginning and we finish, throughout the day. We walk through the entire process. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here with you all. We're going to go to SAM.gov and this is where you're going to go to register your business, right? And so SAM, of course, is a federal site. All right. And so when you go here, if you don't have your UEI, you get it here. All right. Here. All right, so you get started, and if you are already in the game, you would renew it here. All right, if you wanted to check your status, you would do it here. All right, so we're not gonna walk through how to get this, but it's here. This is where we start. All right, we start right here. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna go to SAM. And we're going again to get our UEI, our unique entity ID. All right. And so again, guys, it's so important for you to make sure that you have your foundation set up properly. And then the next thing that I see that small business owners, they struggle with is that they struggle with choosing the right NAICS codes. All right. And if you guys remember back in school, right, we used to have the Dewey Decimal System. I don't know if they still have it, but when we were looking for books, right, we would know where to go because we would have fiction and nonfiction. All right. And so we knew exactly where the fiction books were versus the nonfiction. And so the NAICS codes is similar to that. It helps government contractors to be able to understand what exactly they do, right? And NAICS code stands for the North American Industry Classification System. And so, again, this code, it tells contracting officers, it tells them what you do, and every opportunity is tagged with a specific NAICS codes. So if you're registering in SAMs and you don't have the correct NAICS code, you won't be found in the searches, right? And everything that the contracting officers are doing, they're doing it, of course, automatically using technology, and you want to make sure that you're found. All right, so how do you choose the right NAICS codes? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna head over to NAICS.com, that's NAICS.com, and we're going to look at the tool so that we can identify what the right NAICS codes is. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can share my screen once again so that we can go over to the proper site. This is where you can put in what you do and you can search your NAICS codes, right? So let's put in, and then once you do this, you'll remember it, because the NAICS code is a six-digit number, right? Six digit, and once you discover what yours is, you'll know those numbers, right? And so let's put in, let's see, a couple of them. Let's put in janitorial. Okay, right, because I have a lot of students that's in the janitorial service business. So when you come here, when you put in the keyword, right, then it will tell you what your codes are. All right, right here, 6 digits, 561720. All right, and so one of the things that I want to even mention to you guys, sometimes you may think that Department of Defense is looking for the 561720, but when you're searching, they may not have that specific number. It may be 561722, 561732, right? It's 6 digits, but I'll show you some tricks on how you can determine, I won't say all of the NAICS codes that the federal agencies are using to search, but many of them, right? Many of them. So we'll get to that a little later. But you can put in your NAICS codes here, or you can find your NAICS codes here. Let's do, I had cybersecurity up there. I've got a student, cybersecurity. Okay. All right. So here, the one that I actually like for cybersecurity is a couple of them. It's 541512, 541512. And so if you see, you've got several of these here that when you put in the keyword for cybersecurity that came up, all right? But again, there's also 541519, there's also 511611, 541 990. So it depends on what you do when it relates to cybersecurity. All right. And then also, again, the Department of Defense may use a different code, but it's in the series of codes, if that makes any sense. All right. It's in the series of codes. So, so it'll be 541, right? 541, 512, 541, 519, if that makes any sense. All right. All right. So if this makes sense, you know, if you guys are watching me on YouTube, put a 1 in the comments that makes sense. All right. If you guys are watching me in school, all right, just give me a thumbs up. Cool. All right. So this is the place that you go to use your keywords in order to find your NAICS codes. All right, so it's right here. Okay, I got that done. So get back over here. All right, so then the next thing that I want you guys to understand too is that most of you guys are probably going to be small businesses, but you can also go to the SBA size standard table to make sure that you still qualify as a small business under that code. All right, we're going to hop over there. You probably haven't seen this one before, but it is the SBA's small business size standard. And you can go here and you can find your code. And let's see if we can just do a control find. Let's do 541 cybersecurity. Okay, so here. So the way you read this chart, it says that, you know, as long as your company is not making more than $34 million, then you are still considered a small business. So that's how you use this one. And for most of my students, you guys are considered small businesses, but depending on the NAICS code, you may just want to double check, because if you have a different NAICS codes than, you know, the ones that I'm used to, then you just want to double check, right? To make sure that your income standard is within the Small Business Administration small business, you know, size to be awarded and to be deemed as a small business owner. All right, so that's that. All right. All right, so again, foundation, guys, it's important to set yourself up for success. And this is where a lot of folks, they get stuck. All right, so then the next thing that I want us to look at is tools that we use, right? A lot of my students, they understand, they know the tools, but they don't really know how to use the tools in order to find the information that they're searching for. So we know that we want to make sure that we go to the Small Business Administration size standard table. We've done that. Now, here's the real secret, right? You want to go to Pt.1 and or US.Spending.gov and search for contracts awarded in your industry, right? So if you're new and you're starting out, you want to know who's spending the money in cybersecurity. All right. You want to know what NAICS codes they're using in order to purchase whatever they're buying, right? And so we can look at what NAICS codes other businesses are using to actually win contracts. All right. And that's the data that you want to make sure that you align with. Again, you may be using, I don't know, for janitorial 561720. And when you're searching, you may not find anything with that code 561720. So you want to find out what codes the agencies are actually using. And so you want to find out what other businesses are using, what codes they're using, right? If they are in the janitorial sector, or if they're in cybersecurity sector, or if they're in project management sector, or if they're in, I don't know, trucking sector, right? You want to make sure that the data that you want, you also set your business up so that it aligns with that. Because you know, when you're setting yourself up in SAM, you put in your NAICS codes, all right? And you want to put in as many NAICS codes that you can that aligns with what you do. consider like vertical integration, making sure that, you know, if you're in the trucking, that maybe you might have maybe a box truck. And so, you know, you may look at a carrier versus transportation, but you want to make sure that you put all of the NAICS codes that align with what you do. All right. So let's hop over to Pt.1 real quick. And I want to show you a little bit about how to use that. And keep in mind, guys, I know it's a lot of information, but you know, like I said, this is a series and I want to make sure that I kind of cover everything that you need in order to win contracts. My students are winning contracts, guys. They're winning contracts. So if you are not winning, there's no reason that that you're not winning, right? Because I want to show you exactly how to use the tools that you are familiar with, but how to use them in order to do research and set your foundation up so that you can win. All right, so let me see if I am sharing my screen. Let me do it again. Okay, so let's see. So where we are right now, trying to move this out of the way so you guys can see it. All right, so FPDS, which is the Federal Procurement Data System, we can go here and we can actually find out, right? Data, right? And I love data, right? And if you guys are like me, you know, data makes sense, right? And it gives you so much information. It gives you so much clues if you know how to use the data. So the FPDS, guys, it's a system and it tells like what the government is buying. All right. And SAM is a system where contractors, they post, right? RFPs, RFQs, they post their contracts there. And again, I think I did a video and I'll put it somewhere. Now, understanding that every contract that the government is looking for is not in SAM, right? Because there's some direct awards also, but for the most part, many of the contracting officers will post their information in SAM. All right, and then you've got USA spending. All right, USA spending, all right, it has over 400 plus data points, right? And so with USA spending, it tells you more information about who is spending, all right, which federal agency is spending and where the money is. So we'll look at all of them. So here in FPDS, all right, if you're trying to find out, and it's like a Google search. So if you're trying to find out, you know, what is being spent and what's being awarded, we can go here. So let's go with janitorial service again. I don't know what happened. Okay. All right, it's already here. And let's search. Okay. All right, perfect. So if you look here, you can see that there's like 34,000, there's 340,000 opportunities that fall under the NAICS code 561720. And you can see that here, guys. You can see that here. All right. And with all of these systems, right, and these tools, you may not get familiar with them in one visit, right? But if you set an hour out each day, right, to learn to get familiar with the tools, all right, it'll make it easier, right? And then that's what I'm teaching. I'm teaching you guys to set an hour out to look for opportunities, because I've got so many new contractors and they've set themselves up in SAMs, but they've not bidded on one opportunity, right? And again, this is what this video is about. You know, you feel stuck. but I'm going to help you guys get unstuck. So in all of these systems, there's ways that you can filter, right? So we see that there's over 340,000 opportunities, right? But if you wanted to filter, you would go over here, right? And you can filter by contract types, you can filter by agency codes, you can filter by NAICS code, and that's what we did, right? And then you can also filter by entity state. You can filter by, let's see, what I wanted to do is I want to filter by date signed. So when we click on date signed, right? And of course, I could go through this in detail, but I don't want to make this video too long because you guys are going to have to watch it, and you have to watch it over and over again. So when you go over here, you can see this particular contract was a purchase order, right? And it was signed April 22nd of 2025. And so today's the 23rd, right? And we can see the business that won it, right? We can see the award ID, right? We can see their cage code, right? And you can see a lot of information, right? You can see a lot of information. It was $4,980. So, and it was, you can see the state that this particular contract was awarded in. All right. So having tools that will allow you to be able to research, guys, is so critical. But you can't just have the tools. You have to be able to know how to use the tools, and you have to use the tools, right? So powerful information over here. And when we go to the I'm going to say left, you can see the department names here. You guys know the Department of Defense is the largest federal agency, and up under the Department of Defense, you got sub agencies, right? So you have the Department of Navy, Army, or Air Force, and others, right? Up under the Department of Defense. And then of course you've got General Services, and then you've got the VA. So you've got these services here, right? And then it also shows you the top 10 contracting agencies names that's purchasing, and you've got the Department of Army. So so much information that's in these tools that you can use in order to set your foundation up that it's crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop from here. We're going to hop from here, and we're going to go to USA Spending. I think I've already got it up. All right. So here is USAspending.gov, right? Lot of information. So we're looking for who's spending, what agencies are spending, and who's winning the contracts, right? So and I think we'll talk about partnering in the series, the 4th series, right? So if you're trying to figure out who is the prime, who's winning these contracts, right? Who's the prime, right? So that you can create an email to reach out to these prime contractors that are chances are they're looking for you, right? Because agencies are still having to spend dollars with minority and small businesses, right? And so chances are they're looking for you. All right. So with USA Spending, we're looking here, and of course you just go to usaspending.gov. If we're looking here, you've got Lockheed Martin, and you probably have heard about them. They're actually researching all of these big contractors that's winning these contracts, in these multi-billions of dollars. So to make sure that the government is spending money properly, and that waste and abuse is not happening. So you can see a lot of the big contracts here. All right, and you see Lockheed Martin is all over. All right, but let's see how you can search. You can go to your advanced search, and this site actually has changed since I started in 1993, but it's actually better, and I'll show you a little bit of how you can walk through it. So if you guys are looking for contracts and you're trying to find, if you go over here to the left, this is where I am. If you're trying to find location, time period, characteristics, recipients, and also sources, right? You can sort or filter in each of these sites, all of them have a filter function. You can figure out here the location, find awarded by location or where the work is being done. So if you're looking for, work in Georgia, work in Texas, work in Mississippi, wherever, you can filter here. All right. So you can click here. Let's go Arkansas. Okay. You find it here, you add it. All right. And you can submit the search. Okay. So Lockheed Martin is doing some stuff in Arkansas. So you can kind of see who's winning contracts in what particular state. So the work is being performed in this state. All right. So if you're looking for the time, and I actually put the time in here already, I put a filter in. So I'm looking for contracts that were awarded from January 1st of 2024 to today, 4/23 of 2025. You can filter right here. If you're looking for a specific industry code, like I said, you can put it here. And like I said, it's going to be a 6-digit number if it's a NAICS code, and also if you're searching by your PSC codes, which is your product and service code. But whatever you're looking for, you can find it here. If you're looking for characteristics, like if you're looking for a woman-owned business, you can search for it here. If you're looking for a veteran-owned small business, you can find it here, or 8A. You can find it here. So all of that is here in USA spending. All right. USA spending. Okay. I'll go back and let's see. If you're looking for how much money was spent, you can put it here. You can filter. If you're looking for stuff that's below $1 million, you can filter here by clicking on the link, right? And then you can click on submit. So understanding that all of the tools that you need are out there. You just have to know how to put them together. And doing market research is very, very important. You cannot overlook market research. You need to know which agencies are looking for your services, right? And we understand that government contracting is changing, but that's okay, right? Because they're still buying. The government is still buying. The government is still the largest buyer of goods and services in the world, right? And so if you are a small business and you're trying to grow and scale, government contracting is the way. So this gives you kind of a flow of how to use usaspending.gov and fpds.gov, right? So, all right, so the next place that we want to go, let's see, the next place we want to go, make sure I stay on point. This is how you stop chasing and you start using data to position yourself, right? Setting your foundation up properly. And if you're like me, I have these sites, these websites that we've already covered. I have them, pinned on my ribbon, right? So I'm able to go to them quickly. Most businesses, guys, they're using the NAICS codes, and that sounds right. But again, they don't match what the government buys. So I don't want you guys to make that mistake, right? And so making sure you do the research to see what codes they're actually using to buy what you sell. Now, I wanted to make sure that I talked to you guys about state contracting opportunities as well, because some folks are not looking for federal contracts, right? And so if federal contracting feels overwhelming, guys, no problem. I got you covered. All right. You may want to consider state and or local contracts, right? They often require or have less requirements. And it also will help you to build past performance very, very quickly. All right. So Every state, guys, has its own vendor registration portal. All right. And some are easier to navigate than others, but many offer set aside programs for small businesses and minority businesses. So if that's something that you want to explore, I've included a link, all right, below with a directory of every state registration site. All right, so I'm going to see if I have that one so that I can show you this link and how easy it is for you guys to use it. So let's see. This is a site that you can go. It's NSAPO.org. All right, so regardless of, it doesn't matter what state you're in, you can go here and you can find the procurement site for your state. All right, so since we have Georgia here, we're just gonna look for Georgia. Well, let's just look for another state. Look for Florida. All right, so if you go here, you'll see the Florida site will come up. All right, and it will tell you the vendor guide registration, and it'll tell you if this particular state, if it charges for you to register. It does not. It will give you the vendor site to actually go to. This one is vendor.myfloridamarketplace.com. You can click on the site and you can go here. Now, so it doesn't matter also, guys, if you are in Georgia and you want to do business in Florida, if you have the capacity to be able to find a team, right, in Florida to do the work, then you can do work in various states, right? You can do work in various states. So all you have to do is just go to their state. You do have to register, all right? That takes, I don't know, it doesn't take that long, maybe less than 30 minutes to register. And again, another helpful pro tip is make sure that you have all of the information that you need at your fingertips. You need to make sure that you have your EIN, all right, or your tax ID. You want to make sure that you also have your capability statement, your NAICS codes, your PSC codes, right? Have all of that information because you'll need it when you're registering. And understanding that federal contracting, where you use your UEI, you will not need that for your state or local contracts. All right. Totally different information and requirements, but all you have to do is go to the state and see what their requirements are, because each state requirements are typically different. Also, if you wanted to search vendors, right, you can click on search vendors to find out what companies are registered in the state of Florida that's doing business, right? That's perfect. And we'll get to that in the fourth series where we talk about, guys, how to team and how to partner and how to be a subcontractor with some of these prime contractors. All right. All of the information that you need is found online, right? You just need to set a little time aside to be able to find that information. All right. And to connect everything together. Because that's where I'm seeing that my students that are new, that have not won a contract yet, they're struggling connecting the pieces. Right? Government contracting, guys, is a system, right? Success is a system. And all you have to do is connect the dots. That's all. All right. We're almost done. I know this was a lot. So I just want to recap everything that we've done. You want to make sure, guys, that you go to SAM and you register if you're focusing on federal contracting. You will get your UEI, not your DUNS number, all right, from SAM. Then you want to go to SAM and you want to make sure you set your SAM profile up completely. You want to make sure, especially, that you add your reps and your certifications. All right. If you have any, you don't need certifications in order to win contracts. People always ask me that. You don't need certifications. All right. Then you want to use your NAICS codes. All right. and you want to go to FPDS and USA Spending to choose the right NAICS codes, right? Because what you think is the right one may not be the one that the Department of Defense or Homeland Security or GSA is using in order to purchase what it is that you're selling. Then you want to, if you're new, right, and you want an easy win, a quick win, go to your state contracting portal and get started there, right? You know, your county, your city, all right? There's contracts there, guys, just in your backyard that you guys can easily win. All right, and so what I've done is I've set up a one-page checklist to help you to knock this out, and it's called my GovCon setup checklist. All right, and you can download it in the link below this video. And so it was a lot, but hopefully it's starting to make sense, right? Hopefully it's starting to make sense, because you guys, you can do this. You can do this. You can literally grow and scale your business, guys, with one contract. Imagine one contract, $500,000 contract, $1 million contract, or even a $50,000 contract, guys. You can do this. So in the next video, guys, we're going to talk about how you can build a professional capability statement and how to show past performance, even if you've not won a contract yet. All right. So this is where we really start getting you into position to win. So I will see you in the next video. All right. So there's going to be some stuff down below. Click on that. Join me in school. All right. We got a webinar, a free webinar that's going to be coming up. All right. So just stay tuned. Join me in school, because I post everything in school. All right. And if you found this information helpful, all right, give it a thumbs up, like it, subscribe, right? Subscribe so that you won't miss out on the next few videos, all right? Because we're in it to win it. All right, this is your girl, Dr. Melissa J. Williams. Live your best life doing what you love. You only have one life, so stay healthy, happy, and God bless. I'll see you guys in the next video and or lesson. All right, bye for now.